Hi, what's up? In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a simple but professional looking Instagram carousel, just like the one you can see on the screen now. This is the cover slide and these are the other slides. Really simple design, but something that could be very helpful to you to share on Instagram if you want to share step-by-step tutorials and breakdowns with your audience. So let's get into it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to the official Canva homepage, which is just canva.com, and you can see to show something like this. If you don't have an account, you might need to go ahead and create one, but I already have an account, so I'll just proceed with that without any issue. So if you look by the left-hand side here, you see this create icon, so you need to click on that. And basically what it's going to ask you to do is for the dimensions of what you're trying to design. So now if this carousel is going to be for Instagram or LinkedIn, they're pretty much the same dimensions. So what you're going to choose is this Instagram post format here, 4x5, which is 1080 by 1350 pixels. So just click into that and it's going to create a blank page for you just like this, so you can get started. Now, the first thing you want to do when you do this is basically to just set your canvas, and the easiest way to do that, you're going to go to File here, go to Settings, and make sure you select Show Margins. Let me click it off here. You can see that the margins are gone. If you go back, File, Settings, Show Margins. So basically, this is going to act as a guideline for you, so your elements are within the proper frame and things are properly aligned. And you see how important that is as we go down into the process. So the next thing is I like to set colors first. So you click on this and you see this background color icon here, just up here. You can click on that and select any color you want by the left here. If you have your specific colors, you can click on this plus icon and just enter the X code as well. Or I'm just going to go with this purple. No, that's a bit bright. Let's go with this blue instead. So once you do that, next thing I like to do once you add the color is you can go ahead and create the number of slides you want. So let's make these 5 slides. So once that's ready, then we need to add text. There are mainly 3 things we're going to be adding, which is the colors like we've added now, text, and then images. So now that the colors are all set, if you have multiple colors as well, you can alternate between them. So what that means is maybe this slide, you click up here and make it a different color. Maybe you make it white. Maybe this white and this kind of blue are your brand colors. So you make this slide white as well. So now that you have the color set up, is just really clicking on it, going to the top bar here. You can see what I'm selecting and then picking the color you want. So once that is done, now let's add our text. So to add text, you can just go to the left here. You can see this left navigation here and you can see text right here. But what you can also do is just press T on your keyboard. That's a shortcut, which will just allow you to choose the text that you want. So I'm going to just expand this. You can use these, I'm not sure what these are called, but you can use it to increase the size, or you can click on it and come to the top bar here and just choose the size you want. I'm just going to choose 120 because this is a paragraph. This is the text for the cover slide, so it's going to be quite big. Now, when it comes to the fonts you want to use, there are certain fonts that just look better for headlines and things like that. So two, maybe Anton and Bebasnoe. So I'm just going to go click on this. And here on the top bar, you see settings related to this text that you've selected. So by the left here, these are settings related to everything on your design. But top here are specific to what you've selected. That's why if I deselect now, you can see that there's nothing selected there. So if I click back on this, you can see all these that are selected here. So what I'm going to do is go here. This is the name of the font. I'm just going to click on that. And then I'll be able to select font I want basically here. It has a lot of fonts and you can upload fonts as well. So pretty much you can pick any font you want here. But like I said, there are just certain fonts that are better for headlines, like Leaks Pattern is a good one. But what I'm actually going to use is either Anton or Bebasnoe. So let me search. Let me just go here and search for that. And here we are, Bebasnoe. And what I'm going to do now is, like I said again, select this text and align this to the left. The reason for that is because of the template we're following. So if I go back to this slide, this is what I showed you at the start of the video, and this is the template we are using. So we're replicating this. So it's always helpful when you want to make this kind of designs to have a template in mind that you want to structure your designs after and take inspiration from that. So here you can see that the text is aligned to the left, and then you have the image by the right, which makes everything look really cohesive and look well together. So we are going to align this to the left as well. So what I'm now going to do is adjust the line spacing. So if you come up here, you can see alignment. That's why I just used to align it left. The different alignments you could use. But you always also see this, which is the advanced settings. So this is where you can adjust the line spacing. And line spacing is basically how much space there is between the different lines of text. If it's too much, it looks really unprofessional. So what you want to do is make sure you take it up a bit, maybe something like this. Just use your eye to measure. But typically, a line spacing of about 1 is typically good. So then what I'm now going to do is actually grab the text from here. Ideally, this is where you would use the title, which you're creating the carousel around. Maybe it's 5 tips to improve your diet or something like that. I'm going to go up again and check the alignment. You can see the alignment now is justified. So I'm going to change it back to left. Make sure it looks like this. Still not really happy with the line spacing. So I'm going to go up here again, advanced settings, and reduce it a bit. Just the important thing is just to really use your eye to look at it and try and measure which line spacing looks good. And I think this looks pretty nice. So the next thing I'm going to do now is add the image before the other text elements. This is just so we can put the 2 biggest elements on the page first and then create space for other things. So if you are on the pro version of Canva, you will have access to a lot of images that you can use. But even if you're on the free version, you have some images. So the easiest way to get images to use is just to go to the left-hand side here, click on elements, and search for the image you're looking for. Now, I typically like to keep the image kind of related to the title a bit. So for example, if this is about fitness, then I use maybe someone hitting the gym or someone lifting weights or something like that, just to keep it related. But since this is SEO, I'm not really sure an image that will portray that really well. So what I'm actually going to do is use a fitness-based image instead. So let me just search for man lifting weights and let's see what that brings up. So we're going to come up here and select photos. So you can see a lot of different photos here that you could possibly use. This is obviously if you are creating a carousel around the topic of fitness. So these are a lot of them. So I'm going to maybe pick this. I think this looks pretty good. But I don't like the direction the image is facing. So I'm going to flip it horizontally. So it's something like this. Let's do something like this. So the next thing you want to do to make sure everything looks well together is to remove the background of this image. Like I said again, if you're using Canva Pro, this is very easy to do. But if you are using the free version of Canva, the other websites you can use, a simple one is www.remove.bg. To remove the background for you, then you need to upload it back as a PNG and then use it. So, but since I'm on the Pro plan, I'm just going to click background remover and wait for it to remove that. So this is what it looks like right now. And I'm actually not a fan of this image, so I'm probably just going to go through and select another image. And I think what I'm going to do is, since I think I found one that looks not bad, so I'm going to pick this instead of this young man racking this weight and click on background remover. I think that looks better. And so what you don't want to do is this levitating image. So I'm going to bring it down slightly and then increase the size. Give me a sec. Let me move this around. Then move this here actually. So I'm going to make it a bit bigger, then move it like this. So I like what we have so far. So let's keep going and add in more elements. So now that we have the image sorted and the text looks good as well, I'm just going to move it a bit to the left because I like to make sure there's a lot of space between the text and the image. It makes it look much more professional. If we have something like this where the text and the image are clashing, it just doesn't look as good. So this is what we have so far. Next thing I like to add is branding, the name of the business, the name of the Instagram account or something like that. So again, we're going to go to the left here and click on text, or once again, you can just click on T and that will bring up the text for you. So you're just going to enter the name of your Instagram account or the name of your business. I'm just going to use 404 Studio for this because this is the name of one of my businesses. I'm just going to copy that and paste it here. Now what you will notice is that this really doesn't look good. It's too big, and that's because the font we are using is basically a header font. The font that is better to use for the header. So what we're going to do is come up here again, select font and choose another font that is much more suited to writing, to text. So what we're going to do is there's a lot you can use. You can use Helvetica, you can use Molish, you can use Arimo. I have a lot of options here. You can use Open Sans. So I'm going to go with Open Sans. And another key thing is to really make sure you reduce the size because it's way too big right now. So I'm going to take it down like that. Maybe make it about 32. And then you can use this to expand it. And then I'm going to put it by the left here. Or maybe I'm just going to change this to an imaginary business, which is fit with email. So that's what we're going to use. What I'm now going to do is align this to the left, because I want the elements that are by the left to be aligned to the left and the elements by the right to be aligned to the right. So I'm going to align this to the right, sorry. So come up here again, you can see the alignment option and click right alignment. Then I'm going to just slide it right here and make sure it looks good like that. Another thing that might be really useful to help is some kind of swipe text or icon to tell people that when they're on this page, they do need to swipe to the next page. So there are different ways you could do that, but the easiest way is to use text just like this. And you can select this and just click Ctrl D and duplicate it. Then bring it down somewhere here. What I'm just doing is double clicking on it. So you want to write swipe. And now, like I said earlier, the elements that will be by the left, I'll align them to the left, and the elements that will be by the right, I'll align them to the right. So this is going to be by the left. So what I'm going to do is align it to the left like that and just put it somewhere like this. Now to make it more engaging, to make it more interesting, I like to also put an icon, some kind of swipe icon to make it more interesting to look at. So what I'm going to do is go to the left here, click on elements, and then instead of searching for man lifting weights that we used for this, I'm going to click here and search for swipe. So you can see, and I'm going to go to graphics. So you can see a lot of different ones you could use. So these are icons you can actually use instead of using text. So you could possibly use this without using the text, but I want to use text in conjunction with an icon. So what I'm actually going to search for is a carousel instead, to show people that, yeah, this is a carousel post and it has multiple slides that they can swipe through. So this is one that I really like, this black image here. So I'm going to select that and I'm going to use that. So what we're going to do is just use these 4 controllers to use the size just like that, and then bring it here. I'm going to zoom in, just pinching out with my 2 fingers. I'm going to use this, reduce the size even better, because we want to make sure it's aligned with this swipe basically. And we're going to have something like this. So what I'm now going to do is select both and bring it down somewhere here. And yeah, this is what we have so far. What I'm not going to do is try to centralize everything. So I'm going to take this and make sure it's centralized. And you can see that line that shows up, that shows me that it's at the center. And then I'm going to select these 2 and bring them down here. Let me just make sure it's somewhere here. And this is what we have so far. It's looking good and it's coming along well. So now everything is coming together quite nicely. Let me compare it to the sample we are working with. So you can see here that what I actually used for this one specifically was an icon. Like I was saying earlier, you can just use an icon. So for this, I just searched for swipe and used the swipe icon itself. That's kind of different from this, where I used swipe text and then carousel icon. So there are different ways you could go about it. And an important thing about this kind of designs too is that you don't want to just directly copy. You just want to take the main elements and try something new, try something creative, and try to see if you can put a spin on it, which is what I'm basically doing here. So actually, I'm going to move this back up a bit to make sure it's directly under that. And then the next thing I like to add on the first slide is basically a number to let people know, yeah, this is slide 1 and there are other slides, kind of similar to what we did with the swipe icon and the swipe text. So come again, you can just click on T and the text will be there. So I'm just going to write 01. So this is page 01 basically. And make sure it's aligned. So it's really important to make sure, I'm just zooming in here, all the elements by the left, like I said, are aligned to the left and they're all aligned to one another. You can see what I'm doing here. And Canva makes this really easy, because if you are taking the elements, you can actually see these lines that are coming up and showing you how aligned they are. You can see this. So this is showing me now that it's aligned to the headline text and the swipe and the carousel icon as well. So I'm just going to leave this here. And with that, we have the finished product for the cover slide, which is the most important slide to get right, because it's what's going to catch people's attention and keep them engaged. And I think this looks pretty nice. So try this out for yourself. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments. So now that we are done with the first slide, we can pretty much go easier on the other slides. But I'm just going to still take some time to work on those ones as well, because while this is very important, I want to make sure that when we grab people's attention with this first slide, we can actually share valuable information with the other slides. So the next thing I'm going to do is go to this next slide, which is slide 2, and then go back to our samples, and so we'll know what we are working with and what the second slide looks like. So you can see, like I said here, this looks really simple, nothing too complicated. So has the number, some text, and that's basically it. So what I'm going to do is do the same here. So again, you can just press T, or what you can actually do is, since this is the font you are using, you have your headlines font here, which is Beba Snow, and you have your body font, which is Open Sans. You want to make sure those are the fonts you use on all your other slides as well. So the easiest thing is just come here, copy this text, just click Ctrl C, and then paste it here, Ctrl V. So what I'm now going to do is follow, like I said, the format on this slide. You can see how this is centralized. So I'm just going to use the exact same text to make it easier and to make this video faster. So I'm going to paste that, and it's still looking a bit big, so I'm going to reduce the size to about 80. And yeah, this is what we have. It's very, very simple. Like I said, this next couple of slides are going to be very easy. And I'll put this by center, I can put it by the left, really depends on how you want to go about it. And then this will be the header text for this slide, basically. And then I'm going to come here, copy this number, come to this slide and paste. I'm just doing Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Very simple. And then changing this, because this is not the first slide, this is the second slide, to 02 instead of 01. So we have that ready. And then the last two things we need are this text, this swipe icon, and then this icon as well. So since this swipe icon here is actually pretty much the exact same as that on the first slide here, what I'm going to do is use this exact swipe icon as well for this slide. So it's very simple. I'm just going to select these two. And now that I have these two elements, that I'm pretty much going to be moving them together throughout this design, and select both of them and actually click Command or Ctrl G and group them. And that's going to make it really easy to move it around, because they're going to be moving as one element instead of as two elements, basically. So I'm going to select that now, Ctrl C, then Ctrl V, and then I'm going to move it to this side instead, because like I said, we are sticking to the template of this design, and you can see by this design that it's by the bottom right here. So the final thing we need is this text, and for that I'm not going to copy and paste. I'm just going to click T again to get the text. Once again, make sure it's aligned to the left, and yeah, I'm going to put it right here. So now that we have our text here, basically what you're going to do now is just put the actual text you want to put here. To save time, I'm just going to come here and copy the text here once again. But this is typically where you will type out what you're actually adding to the carousel. And this is going out of bounds. And this is why I said you should add this margin earlier, so you can use it to guide your elements and make sure everything looks really nice and professional. So I'm just going to use this to adjust it like that. And we're making progress. So looking at our sample designer, the only thing left is this number, which is just to make everything look much more visually appealing. And the easy way to get this as well, like I said, is just come to elements and search for numbers and go to graphics. So you can see a lot of different options here. The key thing you want to make sure you do is use one that actually aligns with the rest of your design. So for instance, if I select this one, you can see that it's green, which doesn't go with this color. Because for this design, these are our brand colors. This color I use for this cover slide, and white. So I'm just going to select here, come up here. Like I said earlier, this top navigation bar is for elements that are selected. So since this is selected now, this is where I can adjust it. So I'm going to come here, click on the color. And if you check here, you can see document colors. So what this does basically is going to show me all the colors I've used in this document. And you can see this blue, turquoise blue, is what we used for the first slide. So basically I'm going to select that and then use the size to a level that makes sense. Move this slightly to the right and slide it in here. Use the size a bit more. Move this to the right a bit more. Snap them together. And then this is what we have now. So this is pretty much the entirety of the second slide. And once we have this template that looks good and we know this is what we want, all we just need to do is duplicate the page. So I just came up here to these options and duplicated the page. And then this will be our third page. So on this page now, we just need to make sure it's actually the third page and change the elements from the previous page. So for instance, the number, we'll take that from 02 to 03. And this as well, delete this and make sure we use 2 instead. Again, come up here, change the color to turquoise blue, use the size and bring it somewhere here. Another thing you could do to make sure these icons are the same size across all the slides is actually something simple like this. You can select this, Ctrl C, and put it here, Ctrl V. Now you can see the difference in size between the both of them. You can see that this difference actually isn't that much. So you can actually just delete that and you have this. So basically this is the process you follow to add all your slides. And if you look here as well, you see that they all look pretty much the same. The only thing you could also do is maybe just change the color of the background. So maybe you change this background to turquoise blue instead. And then you change this icon to make sure it stands out, to make the icon actually black. So something like this. So pretty much that's how you will keep going until you do all the slides you want. The only one that might be different after that is the final slide, which typically you need to have some sort of call to action there, something like this. Found this helpful? Share with someone who needs a website. So to do that as well, it's very simple. You can just click on C to get the text, or to make things easier and faster for yourself, just copy the headline text here, paste it there, and then edit it as needed. So since this is going to be centralized, I'm going to come up here and change the alignment to center, and then change the text to found this help. And then I'm going to expand it and make sure it's by the center, and come up here again, get this text, Ctrl C and Ctrl V. And I'm just going to say send this to someone else. And that's pretty much it. A simple way you can create a simple but professional looking Instagram carousel. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. And I have some links to resources, ebooks, or other videos that you might find helpful in the video description, so check those out. And we'll see you in the next video with another tutorial just like this. Enjoy the rest of your day, and talk soon.